Good evening. We are BoomerRexTonight, and tonight we are continuing our special Thanksgiving Part 4. Tonight we discuss the rising tensions as the Pilgrims grow too big for their britches. But first, let me introduce to you Mr. Boomer Rex himself.
Yep.
Asshole.
Is that too big for their little buckly shoes?
Yeah,
Oh,
actually.
God.
And their
Yeah,
hats.
And their hats.
And I am RisenLadyHeathen.
Do they actually wear those shoes and those hats? Do we know?
I have no idea.
You've got a new research topic.
Are you kidding? I'm going to Google while I don't have something interesting to say. That 10 seconds takes so long every time.
That's true. Somebody probably, that's a question that's got to have been answered, so Google will know it.
Oh, so you're telling me I don't have to write this down?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what he's saying. We'll see.
Cool. So while he's looking that up, do we want to talk about free cash what?
Well, I think first we should celebrate. The United States passed a first today.
Oh, did they?
Yep. And
And by
regardless
they, I
of
mean
what
me.
you think of Kamala Harris, she was the president of the United States of America for 85 minutes today.
Wow.
First woman in history to do so.
Well played, Kamala.
Absolutely. And you recall that when Trump went for his colonoscopy, right, he wouldn't let Pence be president. And I can
No
certainly
one wants
understand
Pence to be
that.
president. Yeah, that wasn't even a
No.
question. He's the type of guy that you'd be afraid if he would sign that thing to give it back.
Just anyway.
Fuck Pence.
Oh, so free cash. Oh, I love this one. So Carlsbad, California, right? They have one of those armored trucks that goes around and picks up cash and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
Door flies open, bunch of bags of cash fall out, a couple of them explode.
Of course.
And so you got people all over the freeway grabbing money,
Of course.
right? So I'm sorry I missed it. I think that would have been fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
But it turns out if you got a bunch of cash, you should turn it in, right?
Of course.
It's illegal to keep it, and actually they should ask for a 10% reward for returning it. And I didn't check to see if they're doing that. But anyway, no, you can't keep it. Yes, there's lots of video. Yeah, don't keep it.
Well, that's kind of my thing is in today's day and age with all the, videos and stuff like and people with phone video and all that stuff. I would not just run out and grab free money because no, money's never free, people.
Yeah.
I don't care what you say.
That's a trap.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, once upon a time, there was an aerospace company in the greater Los Angeles area, and they shut down one of their facilities. And so they were moving all the contents of that facility to a new facility. Well, one of the things you have to move is the great big safes full of classified information.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of those fell off a truck and exploded on Century Boulevard.
Oh, Jesus.
And for 3 years, they had people showing up with a handful of classified documents saying, I found these blowing on the street, and it's got your company's name on it, so I brought it to you. And of course, each of those wonderful citizens who did that had to be debriefed, right? Which is, if you ever tell anybody, you go to jail forever, and the standard stuff. Anyway,
Not even close to true. Don't worry about it.
if you were going to lose something, that would be one of the things you wouldn't want to lose.
You were
So
welcome
they
to
didn't
read.
wear big hats and buckles?
They
Is that what
did.
you're
It's
saying?
part of the English Civil War.
Oh, this is sort of a
Puritan
civilian
separatist
uniform
shit.
for, okay.
Yeah. It was how Pilgrims marked themselves out. A lot of religions were doing hats around then.
It's like the Proud Boys and that idiot symbol they wear.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. No, and the black polos and
Yeah.
every nitwit got a uniform. It's the first thing you do before you have flags.
Well, so you can be identifiable.
Yes.
Yep.
This isn't a new instinct in the human.
Yeah, it's the standard gang instinct. That's why we recruit
Absolutely.
17-year-olds.
Things
for the
have
army.
gotten scary.
Yeah.
Cool. So
Any mother's son.
So what is CVS doing to fuck up?
Well, actually, they're not growing. For a number of years, pharmacies have been under pressure because reimbursements have dropped, and there's a lot of mail order provision of. So, CVS is looking to close 900 of its locations.
Huh.
Now, they're saying, right, that these are their outdated locations.
Yes.
So you can be sure those are the ones in.
In poor neighborhoods. Those are the marginal stores.
Yep.
But those are also likely big parts of the retail economy and retail.
In that area.
Yeah.
Yep. Anyway, as it turns out, somebody's ready to fill that in.
Oh.
Dollar General has been moving into that segment and putting stores in underserved rural locations.
Nice.
Which, if they're a decent company, that's great. And even if they're not a decent
We'll keep an
company,
eye on
okay,
them.
way to go.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, Dollar General you can get good deals at, but like you have to look at what you're getting versus what you could get at Walmart in a larger quantity.
Well, yeah,
right?
no, if you
Because
can drive to a Walmart.
There are some things that, if you buy at the dollar store, you end up paying more than if you just went to Walmart and bought it. Or even your local grocery store will sometimes carry them for cheaper in a larger package. But again, yeah.
No, and those corner stores
way to
are
go,
important
Dollar
for kids.
General.
Those are a lot of, no, and they're jobs and money in the economy. Good job, the monkeys.
And this was
Don't
Dollar
fuck up.
General or Dollar Tree?
Dollar General.
Oh, that's the $5 place.
Yeah, still.
Yeah, it's great in place of like a convenience store, right?
Yeah, but again, they're specifically moving them into these retail deserts
and food deserts.
Yeah.
Oh, good,
Yeah.
because they do
Yeah,
have
like-
food and stuff. Yeah.
So now, if they're
Right,
jacking
it
up
used
their
to be.
prices
Right.
in the food desert, right? I want to screw them over,
Yeah.
right? But
No,
you can
keep
go
going.
around, and there are major food chains that do exactly that, where a gallon of milk is $1 more expensive in the food desert,
That's disgusting.
and I think that should be punished.
It should be.
So,
It's
or
genuinely
made
unsafe
illegal
behavior.
and then enforced.
Well,
Yeah.
because let's face it, if you're in a food desert, you are something that people around you need.
Well,
right?
that's
So now you're charging more, not for convenience, right? This
Or
isn't a
because you have
convenience
higher
thing.
expenses, it's because you can.
Right.
yeah.
So, anyway, and you wonder why your store gets burned.
Well, and it's,
Yeah.
no, that's 12 other things too. But
Yeah.
hey, that's outside ownership. That's
It's interesting, and we're talking, the riots that happened 30 years ago. But one of the major banks went through and looked at who got burned and who didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And they had just started a program where they were actually trying to restore the concept of community bank, where the bank actually knew the people in the community, right, was trying to write sensible loans for, small businesses and so on.
yeah. Therefore, they all
Guess
started doing
which
that.
branches didn't
Yes.
get burned?
No, if you're not bad, I remember, and this is in heavy urban environments where the stores aren't owned by anyone in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You gotta take your bag off and set it over there. Like I've seen more bags stolen by
Yeah.
Quickie Mart front doors, and it's not that shit. I can't even remember. Anyway, that I have stuff stolen from those stores, and there's a couple of videos where kids just mob in and get it, and that's what mass crime does. That's
Well, if I don't care what kind of store you are, if you set yourself aside and at odds with the community and something bad happens to you,
fuck you.
fuck you.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Get along with the
and
monkeys.
if you can't do business in the community,
Don't.
leave. Don't become an asshole and then complain because somebody treats you like you're an asshole.
Yeah. No, I agree, and this is an argument that I've had a lot with people from the other side who say, "Oh, they're burning down their stores and places that help them." They're not helping them; they are gouging them, and
again-
gouging is illegal during national crises and emergencies and stuff. It should be illegal always. You shouldn't be
You
able to
shouldn't
gouge.
have to make it illegal.
Yeah, but
And
yeah,
that's
you
part of the
do.
problem.
The
Well,
problem
then
is,
your biggest problem is that you've got assholes in charge of businesses.
of course you do. All they want to do is make money. So if they can gouge, they will gouge 100% of the time. That's what
fine.
capitalism is, and that's
No,
not
it's
okay.
not what capitalism is.
Yes, it is.
No,
Exactly.
It isn't.
It is in the way that the Confederate flag is a lot of things to a lot of people, and it's also a racist symbol of oppression, and can't be the other things. Or the Gadsden flag. Let's do one that is at least still floating somewhere we can see. That's used almost exclusively at this point by people you wouldn't piss on if they were on fire.
Yeah.
And no, if the only time people see or hear the word capitalism, it's when they're putting the boots to you. Fuck the capitalists. You want to know why no one?
Absolutely understand.
It's the same reason
where that
religion
came
is
from.
falling through the floor.
I understand how. My familiarity is AT&T, which was designing switches that nobody knows how long they last because none of them ever died. They had 100-year design lifetime. Now they've all been replaced by solid state. Fine. But some of them lasted 60 years in use.
Yes.
Right? So that was capitalism. How do I build a better system?
Capitalism.
There's a good argument he made since humans won't be here.
No,
in
and more
200
recently,
years,
we had a major bank that decided it would be fun to sort your checks, right? And put the big ones through first, so that if you bounced checks, you bounced a herd of little ones at the end, $35 a whack. This was their idea of how to generate more revenue.
They did.
And when they were caught doing this, the fine they paid was less than the taxes they should have paid. Right? When the correct answer was, you will find every person that you did this to. Every single one.
And you will refund every penny.
You will refund every penny and 3 times as much because it was goddamn fraud. And you will report to this court every week until it's done.
Okay, but
and if
this
that
is America.
exhausts
That's not
the
going to happen.
entire value of your
happen.
company, fuck you.
Yeah, but that's not how they handled it because that's not how this works. The bosses run the show right now, not the other way around.
Yes, absolutely. The problem is that we have nobody saying to the bosses, no, you can't do that. And second, we've got a crop of true asshole bosses who were taught things that are anathema to America.
Stick the boss first leader image in if I can find a reused copy.
Anyway, yes, there's a lot wrong with, quote, capitalism. It's vulture capitalism.
Yes.
Right, but that's the problem. That's how it's evolved because it's not people aren't like, they had a perfect opportunity to go after those banks and do it the right way, right? What did they choose to do? Not that.
Tiny little slap on the hand.
Yeah, they did not that.
They treated it as an operating expense.
But my point is that
they should have been butchered for
every chance that we have had against big companies like this that have fucked up, every fucking time we make the wrong choice and they get off with a slap on the wrist. How much money did Trump
if you're in the prosecutor's
absolutely outright steal from how many people, and how much money did he actually pay back? He still made a profit on that venture. My point is that this happens over and over again. And until we get people in government, until the government gives a goddamn fuck, which they're not going to, as long as these companies that are in charge of all these things have their greedy little tendrils all wrapped around our government.
My turn. Having lived in both rural and urban areas, the bosses are going to do what they're told by the people who can write checks with more zeros than any of us have. Until rural America and urban America realize that they really are the same, and being poor here sucks in a way that probably should never be verbalized out loud, because I think that's the last noise before.
And you ought to probably find out that working people as a whole, right, have a complaint against the way the government is being run. And the first thing you have to do is get rid of chicken shit nonsense like Citizens United.
Yes.
Companies are not people. Or, if you're going to say companies are people, I want to execute a couple for the things they've done.
I also want to then discuss removing the corporate veil. So serving on the board of a company makes you personally
liable
for their criminal shit.
Yep.
Because, other fun facts.
That'll certainly slow down the rush to get on boards. Might even wake some up when they get marched off to a prison.
We could reduce the number of children who begin thinking suicidal things by 13% simply by not letting Instagram be on the internet anymore.
Yep.
I'm not saying we should do that, but that's a cost of letting Instagram do as Instagram does.
Yep. So here's another one, right? And there's vaguely good news here. So a doctor was convicted Friday of issuing hundreds of prescriptions for opioids and other drugs in several locations in the San Francisco Bay Area. He charged $79 per visit, and he had little branch offices in places like nail salons.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So
Wow.
anyway,
Are you doing anything about the thing in Pennsylvania
thing in Pennsylvania.
where the snake people are taking over and eating all the babies?
Oh,
No,
no.
if you're not doing Dr. Oz, then it's we are not letting. I like to kick the table sometimes to show my authority over the microphone.
Well, I can slap the table.
Right now, no,
Now
I
that the table knows its place.
right now. Dr. Oz is thinking about running for Pennsylvania for senator. Who cares? And it's the same scumbaggery. It's the trying to take doctors back to snake oil salesmen. It's the last thing we want going into a time where we really could end up as a post-surgery society if we get
Yeah.
really drug resistant.
Yeah. In fact, hospital-acquired infections are a problem.
Yeah.
And that's where the drug resistance is going to appear, right? Is because it's where you have immediate access to the drug.
Oh, shit.
Right?
So your choices then become Dr. Barnabas and I go to work.
Yeah.
Dr. Oz is truly your modern day snake oil salesman. He's not a real doctor even.
No, it's so bad. He's one of the Hydra babies that Oprah spawned. Because Oprah might still be good, maybe. I don't know. But we're getting to a point where that ledger is complicated when you start looking at the various Scared Straight and like child abuse programs that a couple of her favorite babies have run.
Bunch of stuff?
That's a longer story. We should look that up.
All right.
The other ones I can do are the other people like Dr. Oz she spawned who were involved in the child to prison pipeline. And those are just systems to abuse children. Literally, that's what they grew out of. It's insane.
Yeah.
But that's a longer story for a different time.
And so
Like, comment,
we're
and subscribe
talking
for
about
it.
quack medicine,
Oh, no.
right? COVID boosters.
Borax.
So last week it was
Fluoride.
if you're over 65 or have special proclivities. What is the right word I want? Fragilities, pre-existing conditions.
Comorbidities?
Right? Yeah. Okay. Fine. Then go get your COVID booster if it's been more than 6 months.
Right.
Well, it got really simple today. If you're an adult and you got your COVID vaccinations more than 6 months ago, go get a booster.
Oh, good.
Right. So really simple, really straightforward. Got mine, Tuesday of this week.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Made the appointment on Thursday, got the shot on
Was it the Moderna
Tuesday.
again?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And that's the recommendation. I mean, there have been studies of
JJ mixed with, I think it was
and
one of the others
cross-doing
that's
Moderna
good,
and
Pfizer.
And the results are similar in any case. Now, there's some evidence it might actually be better to do the cross thing, and you could think maybe that there's a reason for that.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so go get your damn COVID booster because. And while we're at it, so there's all this nonsense out about the vaccine doesn't protect. That's false. You're somewhere between 6 and 10 times more likely to get a case of COVID if you are unvaccinated.
Right.
On top of that, you are 6 to 10 times more likely to go to the hospital. And on top of that, if you go to the hospital, 6 to 10 times more likely to die. Right? So what does the vaccine save you? Somewhere between 200 and 1,000 times protection against dying from COVID.
Yeah.
Now, but there are a couple of other things that we need to admit. So one of them is if you were vaccinated and you get COVID,
Right.
all the evidence suggests that you're pretty much just as contagious as anybody else. So you need to isolate.
And mask.
And that means isolate, mask, the whole routine.
Right.
The other interesting thing is that if someone in your family gets COVID, the vaccines provide relatively little protection against getting COVID because you're in this environment, right, where you're continuously exposed. It's the worst possible. So are you 10 times less likely? Well, yeah, in a sense, right? Because the unvaccinated get it immediately and you get it after 3 days or whatever. But the point is that if you were vaccinated and somebody in your family gets COVID, isolate them, mask up in the house, and stay the hell away from them till they're healthy again.
Right.
They stay in their room.
Right? Because yeah, exactly. You can push food under the door.
Yep.
Or leave it in the hallway and walk away. Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. And don't, chase the
Open
unvaccinated
windows.
members of your family out of your house.
Yeah.
Right? Let them live in a tent in the backyard.
No, because I was the one who was outside of the house the most when I lived in Florida with my parents and my brother and sister-in-law. My bedroom was on the first floor next to the front door.
Yeah.
So when I would get home, I would just come in and go straight to my shower, which was right outside my door on the downstairs. And they have their own bathrooms and showers upstairs.
Yeah.
So I was completely separate. So when I had the COVID scare, where I'm pretty sure it was the second time I got COVID, but when I got COVID, I literally just stayed in my room. And my mom would put food outside the door for me.
Did you ever test positive?
No, oddly enough, but the tests are so flimsy.
Yeah.
Yeah, or at least were at that point.
Yeah.
Well, neither false negatives nor false positives are particularly uncommon for the fast one.
Right.
Right. Anyway, so again, go get your damn booster.
Yeah.
Mask up indoors. Stay the hell out of bars and restaurants. And the alternative, right, is Holland and Austria are now locked down. And they're locked down because they didn't get their populations fully vaccinated and they took their masks off. So if you want to go down that road, go right ahead. But you won't like it.
Hey, that won't be what happens here.
No, we're not going to shut down again over COVID. It's
Well,
just not worth it.
COVID is increasing across the country.
Yeah.
Yes, but I'm telling you, the people who are vaccinated, who are going to get vaccinated, have gotten vaccinated. You can only there's only a couple left, right, who are on the fence. And whether they get it or not, it's their choice at this point. The rest of us are vaccinated. We have to go back to life as normal, or America is going to literally collapse. We can't do this anymore.
No, it's the same problem as if we're going to need every 6 months a booster, because the people that don't have doctors will go back to not having doctors when we stop covering the cost of this.
Yep.
And that's going to happen.
Right.
Things like flu shots are very cheap. I forgot how much.
48% of America that gets them, that matters to them.
No, but again, it's a it's a case where you need periodic boosters and so.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to algorithms. What's up with the algorithms?
God, it's like, you stagger around and one day you wake up and you find out the monster under the bed is actually real.
Yeah.
When it eats your ankle.
No, who's it's his line about if God didn't exist, man would create him. Only this is true. We really did maybe make the fucking devil out of a puffy cloud of ones and zeros.
So, interestingly enough, last week I attended a, what do they call it? Lifetime Learning Seminar hosted by Duke University.
Continuing education. Yeah.
About, that's actually one of, I'll have to give them some money because.
It was good, it sounds.
It was interesting because one of the things that was clear, it was a very young group of presenters, right? So people in their late 20s, early 30s.
The kids who know computers.
Yeah, who were working in various areas of AI. And part of the fascinating thing was you could feel their sort of personal belief that AI was going to make things better. And so I jumped in and cured that. But
Well played, sir.
and then we spent
The man from Murder Incorporated, always here to pop balloons and piss on parades.
no, but we spent the last 20 minutes talking about the potentials for misuse.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is important to discuss.
Yeah,
Yes,
you
absolutely.
need to consider, yeah.
Anyway, so it turns out there are a range of governments that are getting a little concerned about what algorithms are doing. Like finding out which YouTube, or telling you which YouTube video to watch, or delivering the gullibilities to the craziest misinformation from COVID-19.
Everything.
The standard.
It will absolutely, whoever you are, it is trying to recommend the next 4 videos, and it wants you to watch all of them right now. It wants you to stay here.
And again, I understand
Don't go outside,
how that
be afraid.
algorithm gets developed, but the way it basically works is it figures out what your intellectual trajectory is, and it tries to push you along that trajectory.
Yes.
So the split second that you showed that you were vulnerable to certain types of misinformation, that's all you're going to see.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, I've noticed it because on TikTok especially, I've accidentally liked, say, like one video because I agreed with this particular video or it was funny or something.
Yeah.
And then the next thing I know, I'm getting all this crazy stuff and I'm like, what the fuck is this crap? And it was because of this one video, and the normal stuff this person would post would be, you know,
They're putting
completely
fluoride in your
against
water. They're
everything
trying to steal your bodily
that I
essence.
believe in. But because it had nothing to do with that, I didn't understand what I was
saw them
getting
getting
into.
on one cute TikTok.
Yeah. I saw their dog
Yeah.
doing something funny, and I was like, "Oh, that's cute.
That's a nice dog."
But then
Usually
it turns out
he's
the
wearing a
owner of the
swastika.
A little
dog.
swastika
Yeah.
up the side of the dog. Yeah.
What the hell did Stalin have? Yeah, he's all dressed up like a Cossack oppressing your cats.
Yeah, there you go. So, no, but and we'll talk specifically to Facebook, right? Because I'm not big on TikTok.
And they're the ones who just had the biggest leak spring, and we're all going to dance around and drink deeply of.
So, dear
wow.
Facebook, I don't mind, when I search for something on the internet, and then for the next week you offer me opportunities to buy said thing on the internet.
That's fair.
So the promise I will make you, right, is I will click on some of those ads if they're vaguely interesting, right? But the chances of me buying from one of those ads is identically zero. Right? So I appreciate the additional information. I don't mind that you track my desire to buy whatever kind of camera. But guys, advertisers in particular, I'm not buying from a Facebook ad. That will never, ever happen.
But they also don't.
I might return to your store by a different route or directly, but I will never, ever buy from a Facebook ad. Period.
But they don't care.
So the advertisers probably should.
No, the fact that you will take another route but still purchase the item if you find one you like means they're still winning.
So, yeah, they don't care. It's like Bank of America. Bank of America could stop taking deposits tomorrow and wouldn't notice. They'd shrink by less than half.
So,
no, the entire knife fight now is between the demographic of 13 to 18. Because those are the ones who can get their parents who have money to spend big chunks of money. That's why they're only interested in Instagram.
Aren't you glad you grew up in my house and never had that problem?
Facebook is devolving into a fight between the politically motivated boomers and millennials and whatevers.
Yeah, no, and
its outrage engine mask has slipped too far for the younger set. Instead, they'd rather go feel bad about themselves because of filters. So.
Yeah. So anyway, the algorithms are a problem. Yeah. And you think a government can control them? That'll be the day. Right. So
yeah, at some point, one of these social media groups is going to make the point of, would you like to know everyone who's cheating on their spouse?
Yeah.
Because that information is trivial. No, I watch a lot of the TED Talks and DEF CON lectures about the privacy kids, and they're one of the early ones who were shouting about, through network analysis, just looking at where people go.
Yes.
I can tell you a lot of things. I can spot drug dealers. I can all kinds of stuff that we know states would be interested in. And it's only gotten scarier, better, faster.
Right. Did we talk about how to tell if people have money to spend?
The iPhone, yeah.
Yeah, the iPhone.
Yep.
And that's something your iPhone tells every website it visits. It says I'm an iPhone and my screen is so big by so big.
Yeah.
And I'm running iOS whatever.
Yeah.
Typically, I know for the Windows, it tells what version.
So there was a Kyle Rittenhouse final decision. Let's talk about that.
Everybody heave a deep sigh and have a cigarette or whatever you use to take the edge off.
Booze, drugs, I don't give a fuck what you do.
So I'm sorry. Look, I'm a progressive Democrat. I don't have any heartburn with that verdict, right?
It sucks, but...
If you hit me in the neck with a skateboard, and I've got a gun in my hand, I'm going to shoot you.
Okay, but here's my thoughts on it, is I agree with you. I think that the jury made the best decision that they could, considering how the case was presented and yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
I think the prosecutors fucked this up by going for the murders instead of going for, why were you carrying an AR? Why were you out of state? What was the whatever? And getting...
None of those that I know of are illegal.
It is illegal. He was underage. He could not technically be carrying that gun. They
Fine.
could
So I would
gotten
have
him for
been
that.
perfectly happy with prosecuting him for that.
That's
Notice
what I'm
that's
saying.
the one the judge took off the table.
Again, we use felony mischief or whatever your local equivalent.
Right.
We have a number of charges. If the state needs to put you in a cage, they can write down a reason.
Oh, they'll find a way.
Disorderly conduct.
Yeah.
So anyway, while
We should have gotten him for a lesser
While
charge
we're there.
because this is problematic going forward.
I agree.
Yeah.
But that's not before the court. And
Right.
that's the
The
shitty
jury
part of this.
decided correctly based on what they
Yes.
were given
Agreed.
in terms of charges and
As hateful as it
And
is.
all the rest of the argument has to be about the ingredients in the cake and why it didn't work. Or why it did work, or whatever. But no, I agree to the handful of people who've had sensible concerns about going forward. What does this mean? And we've already heard some burblings from the usual loud assholes on the wrong side of everything, hopefully.
Right.
Yeah. There's a stupid saying you could be armed and dangerous.
Dying.
God, how stupid.
Americans are absolutely dangerous. You can tell by the number of us we need to imprison, apparently.
Yeah, I think the Proud Boys said stack the bodies like cordwood.
Right.
If so, I'm sorry. That's a
It's
felony incitement to violence.
No, it's not.
Go prosecute
It's
them.
not.
It is.
It absolutely isn't.
Why not?
Are they standing at the end of your driveway and offering axes?
I'm sorry. It's an incitement
It
to
is
violence.
not. We've asked and answered. It's been ruled on by the Supreme Court. No, I can't cite which one it is, but you can go and look. Incitement isn't incitement unless I'm standing at the end of the driveway renting guns.
Yeah, well, maybe we need to
Anytime,
alter that.
no, because it's offsiders, dumb shit. Of course they're gonna say that. They had a thing that looks like a win. It's the same reason the cop that got thrown off the force for stalking a girl and Lord knows what else. Something to her male companion, but I didn't care enough to
Prancing
read the
around
rest
with
of the thing.
an AR.
Yeah. No, this is a chance for people who we have allowed life to grind down so far to the nub. That this is what they've got. This is how they spend their fucking days off. Or for that guy,
Yeah.
I don't think he has days on.
So let's go back to the night it happened and say what probably would have prevented all of this is when the police became aware that they had an armed crowd trying to defend a business that they were in no way associated with and had not been asked to
That would
defend.
require knowing stuff on the ground. You can't be mech troops.
You stop and
know
talk
shit.
to them. They gave them
talk-
water. They
Yes.
could have talked to them.
That
They did talk to him. They told him, "Good job, guys. We appreciate you."
And what they should have done was pull up with a bus and say, get on the bus or get arrested.
Yep.
And taken them someplace else.
Well,
So-
and
I
again,
think I'd get them on the bus before I mentioned any dumb shit about arrested.
yeah. No. I mean, again,
That crowd can outshoot most police departments. I don't know what they'll
Well.
hit, but their throw weight.
Based on the statistics I've seen, most 10-year-olds can outshoot a police department.
Yes,
trained
but it's the same
10-year-olds.
reason why
Yeah.
the Not Fucking Around Coalition could so easily take Cold Mountain that one day, because, there was a shit ton of people with guns, and pretty much everybody's response, unless they're really going to piss on the system, is we should just let them do what they're going to do and hope they're not going to hurt anybody.
so speaking of Americans making bad decisions, are we ready to dig into the next part of our Thanksgiving Explained?
I thought Thanksgiving was a good decision.
Well,
No,
the party
we didn't.
was, but,
Yeah, okay.
you know.
So then the beer ran
The
out.
natives should have still done in all of the new kids.
Oh, yeah. No,
Yeah,
they...
and the beer ran out.
Well, when there was like 50 of them,
I
like...
think we're going to find historically that's what tends to happen.
It
The
would
beer
have been
runs out.
it would have been easy enough to take care of it. But anyway, so part 4 tonight, our question for you while you comment, like and subscribe is
And donate.
Yeah.
we don't have a donate button.
Send us puppies. Don't send us puppies.
Don't
to the
send
internet.
us puppies. We might be having our own. Anyway, what are your thoughts on Black Friday? Yay or nay?
No, stay home. Sorry. I came up in retail before I switched to security, and no, that's so I've seen they're mobs. Don't.
Black Friday is the worst ever. I don't care what sort of retail you work. If you work food retail, if you work industry service retail, sales retail, Black Friday is the combined worst fucking day ever.
Oh, you're going to get another story, but I'll start by saying I live in a retail desert. So when I participate in Black Friday, it's select, enter. So that's not bad at all. And I've never had a website even slow down on Black Friday.
Agreed.
But back when I didn't live in a retail desert, on the day before Christmas, which is the worst shopping day ever,
Yes.
I went to Nordstrom's. And so the particular Nordstrom's I went to was one of the oldest ones in Seattle. And it was old and their facility was worn. The carpets, there were some places in the carpet where they had literally duct taped down the corner because the corner had come loose and they didn't want people to trip. Big sign as you enter the store. It says, please pardon our mess. We're getting ready to be overhauled, right? So anyway, go in that store. And I mean, this store is shoulder to shoulder.
Oh, God.
It is idiotic.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably well past your 4 per meter number.
It was right at the 4 per meter. It was the point where you had to be careful to walk around people.
Okay.
Right. And if they moved unexpectedly, yes, you bumped into them.
Yeah.
And you touched their ribs and said, I'm so sorry, and made sure they didn't fall down. Anyway, you go. So every single cash register is manned by 2 people. And the lines are, 8-10 people, but they're damn well moving.
They're tag teaming it.
Yeah.
This store is packed. So I'm walking along, and this excited kid blazes around a display
Like
and
you do.
runs smack. The big Foster Grant displays on the twisty turny display, and
Oh, gosh.
basically a Christmas tree full of Foster Grant sunglasses. Average price $55, right?
Jesus.
Oh yeah, no, they were nice. This kid comes running to his mother, turns that corner, blazes into it. And I mean, Foster Grant sunglasses go everywhere.
Oh,
that
God.
display simply explodes.
Oh, gosh.
So there are like 100 pairs on the ground, and the kid is in tears, and the mother is frantically trying to pick up right. 2 cashiers say, excuse me for a moment. And they walk over, and one of them goes straight to the kid. And she wraps her arms around him, and she says, it's not your fault. That was a stupid place for us to put that display.
Aww.
Don't worry about it. It's okay. Meanwhile, the other one is on her knees next to the mother. And she's saying, it isn't your job to clean this up, right?
Yeah.
This kind of thing happens. We put it in a dumb place. Don't worry about it. Go on with your shopping.
Yeah.
So the mother and the kid wander off. And the second one, who had talked to the mother, proceeds to kick $4,000 worth of Foster Grant sunglasses under the nearest display. So the aisle is clear.
Fair.
It's beautiful.
No,
But
for the
that
couple
was-
that are going to get messed up, you've got the rest of them out of the goddamn way. Like,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Way to be effective, the monkey.
Yeah, well, that's the whole point, right? Is that it doesn't have to be a riot.
Yeah.
Because you can have a store that is absolutely, utterly overwhelmed and still works because the people who work there give a shit and are actively trying to help the situation.
Okay. So this is where you're going to tie back into if we paid them.
Yeah,
Like they might be
exactly.
alive.
Yeah, no, I Nordstrom was wonderful. I mean, everybody should have heard Nordstrom stories, and if you haven't, the hell with you. But I can tell you that one of my coworkers went in at the recommendation of another of my coworkers, and decided that she should dress better for business. And so she went in, and they helped her find a set of outfits that were kind of mix and match and were easy and weren't terribly expensive. So she comes into work one day about 6 months later, and she says, yeah, I went back. I said, yeah? She said, yeah. She said, you know what? They knew my name. They greeted her by name.
Wow.
So,
We used to be able to do
and they
retail
didn't
back
have
when
photographs.
We cared.
So anyway,
Yeah.
shocking,
Yeah.
right?
No. So anyway,
So yes, capitalism can work if you've got the right people working it.
I've never seen it.
if you pay
I'm told
the
that.
people working
Oh, absolutely.
appropriately.
Yes. Well, that's how
let's
you
be
get the right
honest.
people. I'm sorry.
Yes.
So the Pilgrims and the Native Americans had this big party, and now they're friends for life, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Everything's
yeah,
good
friends for
forever.
life. And
Till
there's-
the beer ran out.
Wrong. Another ship full of colonists showed up in 1621,
Awesome.
and 2 more in 1623.
Now, were these more pilgrims or just like some assholes rode up and we're like, hey, We live here now too.
They're more colonists.
Okay.
They have another feast in 1623, and this quickly becomes a common celebration in the New England colonies. So as the colony spreads, this tradition continues.
Are the Native Americans still being invited to these?
Okay.
No.
I'm assuming maybe
Okay,
the
I just
first
learned not to
one.
ask. Yeah. Okay.
I'm assuming maybe the first one and several others. So listen to my story, and then we can debate whatever. As more colonists arrive, they start taking more and more land. They also bring with them disease like smallpox, and the Native Americans, still trying to recover their numbers from the Great Dying, suddenly have to deal with these new sicknesses that they have never interacted with before. You know what happens when you interact with a sickness that you've never seen, heard, or smelled before?
You get sick.
Yeah, you get really, really sick.
So what happens when you meet people who are in agriculture or into animal husbandry and you aren't?
Right.
Needless to say, this eats away at their shrinking population even faster. In 1630, 1,000 Puritans arrive under the rule of Governor John Winthrop. Winthrop, who came under a charter from the Massachusetts Bay Company, established Boston as the capital of Massachusetts Bay Colony in short order, and it quickly became the largest colony in the area.
You're in charge of these nitwits. Make it profitable.
By 1635, a tribe called the Pequot had a monopoly on the fur and wampum trade.
Okay.
We gave guns to.
By 1620, many of the tribes in the area, via coercion, warfare, diplomacy, and marriage, were forced to follow the Pequot tribe. When the settlers arrived, some of the tribes thought to cut the rope the Pequots had tied to them. This eventually leads to the Pequot War, which reduced the Native American population even more. This war began in 1636 and ended in 1637. The 1630s in general involve a lot of skirmishes between the colonists with support from their Native American allies and other tribes trying to maintain their lands and power. The Wampanoag and the Plymouth colonies successfully maintained the peace between those people until 1675, King Philip's War. After Massasoit, the Wampanoag leader, died in 1662, his heir Metacom said, "Fuck this shit." As the failing of trade agreements and population spread of the colonists pushed friendly relations to their breaking point. Metacom was known by the English as King Philip and led an uprising of the Wampanoag, Nipmuc, Pocumtuck, and Narragansett tribes. After 14 months of what is known as the deadliest war in American history, the Wampanoag and their Narragansett allies were nearly completely wiped out. So, this is the end to the bloody New England Native American friendship with the colonists that barely survived a generation. So New Englanders already regularly celebrated feasts during harvest by the time the American Revolution began in 1765. The Continental Congress, which served as the government for the now 13 colonies from 1774 through 1789, designated one or more days of Thanksgiving. Then in 1789, George Washington himself issued the first Thanksgiving Proclamation by the national government of the United States. In it, he asked Americans to express their gratitude for the conclusion of the country's War of Independence and the ratification of the U.S. Constitution. Tomorrow, we will continue the thought through till it becomes an official holiday in Thanksgiving Explained Part 5. But so I skipped a bunch here, as you can obviously tell, I'm sure.
Okay.
But
I just find it interesting that they ran the standard colonizer playbook and of isolate, alienate, control, which is the standard for any abusive relationship. Right? Pick your winner, go in, pick your winners, go, here's all the things to be winners, now make it profitable. And
that's the standard Roman
chuck.
thing. Yeah. Right? Wander into a neighborhood, find the biggest thug you can find, make him an ancillary to your government, and tell him to take over the whole mess, and if he needs a little help, help him.
So, early capitalism. No, and to some extent, that's the, before I
No, and again, remember
Coins don't make it.
that many of these colonies were associated with what was a profit-making
Yes.
organization that was, right, so.
Capitalism be bad.
Yep. And notice it wasn't until 1776 that we said, okay, sorry, guys, but we are not, right, your
Paying
lawful
your
prey,
newit
and
tax.
you're done. So, anyway.
No, so yeah.
What the hell do you mean, bloodiest war in American history?
Yeah. That's what it's called.
Okay, for no reason, so.
Like,
this the
so many people
percentage
died. like lots of people died.
Like,
by that measure, the Civil War was by a factor of 10.
Okay, but like, that was also like a lot more fucking people.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're talking about the percentage of people who died, and you
They
wiped out the
burned
tribes.
down villages for funsies.
yeah.
Like they didn't just like have a war. They like obliterated
Yes.
them.
They
So
followed the Irish model.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why it's referred to as
Leave no two stones upon each other and salt the earth that nothing may grow.
Fuck you, Ethiopia. Keep your elephants on your side of the fence.
I think that was a Roman thing.
Anyway,
Yes.
it was bad.
But that was the
really
response
bad.
to Carthage.
Wasn't? Okay.
Like,
God, I hate it that
Punic
you're
War.
better read than I am. That annoys the
No.
shit out of me.
No, Punic Wars. No, that's the slave wars.
No, and again, like if the, colonists had, been good about maintaining their trade agreements and stuff like that, and, having more discussions about, taking over land and that sort of thing, they probably could have been integrated,
Yeah, but
right?
If only they had been more capitalist, by mutual consent to mutual advantage, everything would have worked out.
Yeah.
What is your sudden thing on capitalism's good?
What is your
Because the
sudden-
alternatives are going to lead to butchery faster than anything.
No.
we've ever seen.
I'm not saying that, like, whatever, but I'm saying that even capitalism
saying the
needs
idea-
regulation.
Yes,
yes,
for
there's no
sure.
problem.
That's the problem. Is what we've got is pirate capitalism.
No, because what you're saying
what that was.
is that, with capitalism, that
He was making
if
a bad
it's
joke.
in the hands of the right people, then it's going to be fine.
There are no right hands. It's people.
let's-
This was
no, but
inevitable.
That was my point.
Yeah.
by mutual consent to mutual advantage is a fabulous idea, right? The problem is that when you begin to set up governments and have people buy governments, that it's no longer by mutual consent.
Right.
Right? You are developing companies that believe that they can dictate, and for some period of time, they will succeed.
Right.
What those companies don't understand is that they are building up a head wave of hatred that will someday destroy them.
Yep.
And somebody's going to offer an alternative that works better, and they're going to be gone.
Right.
So now, with their control of the government, they will raise huge barriers to entry and so on for that competition that will eventually.
Have done. That's how they pumped the cost of college.
Well, and the Pequot tribe actually, for a while, when they were, holding them and the Dutch, held the monopoly on the fur,
Violence.
the fur and the
Violence.
Whatever trade. That actually kept things in check in that area until
Because they killed everyone who tried to sell otherwise.
right, until the other tribes were like, "Fuck this noise. We got these guys and they got guns." So
And no, you can get them in a rush though.
So
Don't get them in a rush.
mismanagement-
The internet.
Mismanagement on both sides of that,
Oh,
right?
for sure.
So, anyway,
No, it's the
yeah, it didn't
problem
take
is
long.
Colonialism has never failed to find an eager partner in the beginning.
In the beginning.
Well, afterwards, you get to meet the Royal Marines or
After what they
U.S. Marines.
take you in a
or-
rush.
Yeah. Nah. Wave warfare's done with now. Don't internet. Don't do wave warfare.
I'm sorry, last time I checked, India is no longer part of the British, or they're no longer subject to the British Empire.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, eventually it can work out.
Yeah.
Now, if you were being imperial and your victims were right next door, it would probably work forever. So,
Squirrel blood.
do we remember what we were talking about? Well, we We paused for a moment to talk about the idea of pirate ships and
Yeah.
how to make those a capital thing. And
No,
That
they
was
are.
last night, wasn't it?
and we'll
That
sell
was a
drink.
lot of nights.
The ones with the little umbrellas.
There's,
in
oh
them.
my god, you have no idea. I want a pirate, like a big pirate ship
Yeah.
built as a
So
bar.
I'm going to take
Built as
this
a what?
time to
Bar.
say, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your brothers, tell your sisters, tell your mothers. I don't give a fuck who you tell. You need to share us with
And if you want to
everybody.
donate, leave us a comment and we'll tell you how to do it.
True. Time for a comment, the internet.
Yeah, just
Makes
fucking,
sense.
just comment. And don't forget, send me your weird names so I can try to pronounce them. It'll be fun.
Send any
Yeah,
names.
you've had some examples
Yeah, I don't care if
tonight.
it's your name, your friend's name, if it's some random name you found online. I don't care if you go
Some
online and
Indian
Google.
tribe.
I don't
from the
care if
north
it's-
of India.
I don't care if you go online and Google odd names to pronounce,
What are
right?
regular
Like,
names?
just fucking do it.
Just send your normal ass names to the internet.
Yes.
Teach her a lesson.
But thank you once again. We had a lively, very lively discussion tonight. I enjoyed it very much.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Okay, cool. So you, once again, come back to see us tomorrow. We love you all. Have a good night. And we'll see you tomorrow for Thanksgiving Explained Part 5,
Part
sir.
5, so you're keeping track.
Happy
I
Don't
told
Trust
you
Whitey
I'd
Day.
write it
Yeah.
down. Yeah.
Telling you only 4 more to go, or 5 more, or however many. Yeah.
There's a long enough history.
You have to think about what we're going to do on Thanksgiving.
There's
So, and we're
Plenty
looking
of
for better photographs. We know you must be getting tired of the ones we use. So,
Yep.
Anyway,
Bye.
like, comment, subscribe. Love you all. See you tomorrow night on BoomerRexTonight.
feel the burn.